Aloha and good afternoon. I'm Dylan Ancheta in the H&N Digital Center. Happening right now, Honolulu Police Chief Arthur Joe Logan is holding a news conference discussing new gun legislation and rules that will take effect in the new year. Let's go ahead and send you live now to HPD headquarters.
Licenses to carry applications for more than 1,600 firearms. On January 9th, a public hearing will be held in this very room to change the rules of the chief to comply with the new law. And under the new law, the permit to acquire application process will be extended from 14 to 40 days, and that would allow sufficient time once the rules of the chief are approved. I'd also like to mention that contrary to recent media coverage that crime is skyrocketing in Honolulu, in fact, crime rates are down from the period of this year as compared to previous years. And that's not just in the city and county of Honolulu, that's nationwide. That's with the major city chiefs. And there was an article in the published in the International Association of Police Chiefs online website that indicated that there is a new low in murder rates across the United States also. So I just wanted to put that out. And with that, at this time, I'll take your questions.
What efforts have been made to kind of clarify the new law? Because on your website, it doesn't say anything about having to take that safety course come January 1st.
If you go into the HonoluluPD.org website, under firearms, all of the information is in there. The new rules of the chief, the one that we're proposing, is all in there. And it provides all the information you need to understand either the permits to acquire, what's changing in the new law, and with the license to carry. So all of that information is in there.
So just to clarify, if they had come to HPD to apply on December 24th, so do they still have to have that safety course done?
So it has to be within a certain time frame of the application process. So if they've taken the safety course up to this point, then that is the safety course that they've taken.
And what if they haven't done? Should that start over the application process?
It won't be a new application process. They can go ahead and take the new safety course and then add that to their application.
The safety course isn't something new.
Right. It's something that's been required all this time for license to carry. Now they've changed some of that into and converted into what is permit to acquire.
How many instructors do you have?
I believe we have 46 that are on the license to carry instructor, and then there's a basic firearms instructor course where it's not the license to carry, but more the permit to acquire, and I believe we have 6 on that, so a total.
Do you need more? Is that
Well, that's a commercial business run by the outside organizations that want to do that. That's not an HPD controlled thing.
When you say the instructors have to submit more information regarding mental health, what exactly do they submit?
There's a mental health component where they submit to us on their application, and then we do a short check with the mental health providers if the individual is of competent mind and not a danger to society. And so we don't think that because they've been certified, but that's a requirement under the new law.
That's for the instructors themselves?
Correct.
And who does these screenings
For
for a psychological profile?
our firearms section would submit that to the state or their medical provider, and we will validate based on the questions in the letter that we give them, asking for answers to the questions on that verification. So firearms section will do that with the medical providers.
So if they have received some mental health care, they may be disqualified?
It could be, but it would be up to their medical provider to provide that information saying they're disqualified. That's not a judgment we make.
Could you speak to the other elements of Act 52?
The new law, yes.
Yeah. Like the other things that it covers, for instance, needing permission to go on private property with a firearm?
Well, the new law had within it sensitive places, but those I think the ones that are schools, hospitals, government buildings are still intact. However, the ones with beaches, parks, sidewalk areas adjacent to sensitive places, and I think restaurants and other liquor establishment, those are under a court order where we can't enforce at this point in time. So right now those are in abeyance.
You don't have to know, besides HPD, where do people go to get certified for these new permits?
I would imagine they could go online or to gun clubs or people that, gun stores, and ask them that information.
We had a report that a lot of these gun stores and gun clubs, a lot of them have not been certified yet to give these permits out or get these certifications out. Have you heard anything about that?
I have not. If they've submitted an application prior to this last year, and we validated or verified that, then they're verified under this. All we're asking is under the new law, that now they require this medical component, so we'll be asking for that information. We're not revoking anybody's already verified verification.
So if they've applied, submitted all their documents before the end of this year, will they still be able to pick up their permit after January 1st?
Yes.
So they still, with this new law, will accept this
It depends on the application. I'd have to look at each one individual. The firearms section will look at each one individual, make sure they meet all the requirements of the new law. And even though we have to do the chief's rules changes also to comply with the new law, but that is going to be the minimum standard, is what is effective on January 1st. After, we have to make sure they comply with that. So we'll have to validate that they have. If not, we'll be calling the individuals to ensure that they can submit the right paperwork or documents.
Are you afraid that people might be discouraged from getting a legal permit to get a gun because maybe it's a little bit more difficult now?
Well, that's a personal choice. What people choose to do, based on what the information is, really up to them.
Are there new laws concerning non-lethal self-defense protection, tasers, assault-rifle guns? Are they being,
That's not changed.
it's not changing at all?
I don't know if it's in the new legislation, but not this current legislation law.
You mentioned murder rates. Do you have like a comparison from last year to this year?
I don't have it with me, but if you submit us an email, we can get that back to you.
People who have who are already certified before the January 1st deadline have to come back in to get recertified under this new law.
They don't have to get, you're asking about the instructors?
Or people who want to carry guns. You have to come back in and get.
So those have a license to carry now, theirs is good for 1 year, right? So if they come in after January 1st and renew their license, that new one would be a 4-year now license. But there is a $50 renewal fee for license.
So for current gun owners, nothing's changed. They're grandfathered in.
Yes.
Do you have any thoughts on the number of permits that have been applied for? Does it seem like a lot, a little? Any thought on that in county?
It's, I think, at or below 1% of the population of the city and county of Honolulu. So I think, I don't know if that's consistent with other cities or like cities. Maybe Florida and Texas maybe have different percentages, but I think that would help the residents, the other 99% of the residents that don't apply, to feel safe that it's really a small number of people that are individuals.
Is it about what you expected?
I expected about 1%, yes.
Any estimates on how many illegally owned handguns or long guns there are out
No,
there?
I don't. Too many, one too many. Yeah, if anyone has one, it's one too many.
And are you concerned about how people are getting access to these guns illegally, or people that shouldn't have guns getting access to them somehow?
Yes, and so, we're working with our federal and state partners to help us understand, and then how do we enforce the laws that we have to ensure that people don't have guns.
You speaking of ghost guns?
Well, ghost guns or illegally obtaining a firearm that is not registered or they're not licensed to carry. Maybe their background is such that they don't or couldn't get a license to carry or permit to acquire. but they acquire a gun somehow.
And what are some of those strategies for enforcing that?
That would, I would have to sit down. I'd rather not talk too much about the strategies in how people are doing what they're doing.
Do you have a number of how many people have already tried to apply for the new permit to carry?
There is,
Say 1,186.
well, that's how many have been approved. So I believe there's 1,600, roughly 1,600 applications, over and above the 1,100 that we've had, right? There's a total of 1,600.
Either one, are you full for next year?
So for the permit to acquire, just from this last week, we had 283 people for 386 permits.
Wait, try to say that again, 238 people?
283 people this past week for 386 permits to acquire.
So that's, if they have multiple permits.
Yeah. Many people come in and do permits to acquire is per weapon system that you want or firearm. But license to carry will be multiple firearms within that license to carry. Okay?
Can I ask you about fireworks New Year's Eve, if you guys don't mind, if you guys are done, if you're okay with that? Are you ready for New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
One cops, what are you doing?
So our priorities for New Year's Eve is one, calls for service. So answering the public's calls for service. Number two is impaired driving. So those that are on the highways that should not be on our highways and roadways that are impaired. And third is keeping the freeway H1 between Pearl City and Kapolei open on both directions so that no one is stopped to watch illegal fireworks. And that is for the safety and concern of everyone. Emergency vehicles to pass through, to get people where they need to be, and to get other people where they need to go. And just basically, it's safety and security of everyone using the freeway system. And then lastly is fireworks calls that people are calling 911 regarding illegal fireworks within their areas.
Do you have more officers on duty?
We have I don't know if we have more officers on duty. It's up to the divisions and commanders to ask those individuals to either come in on overtime and or ask officers that might be doing other duties such as community policing or other misdemeanor follow-up duties to be in patrol and do that duty. All right, you're welcome.
What should citizens do when they want to report fireworks, illegal fireworks?
Well, you call 911 and report the firework violation. But what helps us is one is we need you to help us to identify who the individual is. If you have video or pictures, those would be nice for the officers to receive so that they can help identify who the individual is that is firing illegal fireworks. And that would help us when we respond to the scene. Okay, with that, thank you very much.